That's good. You gave me an extra second to adjust my background from my messy office to my to Wonderwell. So, oh, good morning, everybody. It's so nice to see you all here. I'm actually going to move on to gallery view so I can see you better. Great. Well, welcome to Dharma Sunday. And I would love to just take a moment before we start our practice to just do some Zoom gazing. And some of you, I think probably all of you, or many of you at least, are very familiar with Zoom gazing. But if you're not, it's just taking a moment where we um, just look around the screen and see who is here and smile and share some loving and positive energy with each other. So if you're willing to turn on your camera for a minute, that would be great. And if you're not, that's also totally fine, no worries. But we'll just take a moment to explore and say hello and smile and share in some heart this morning. So make sure you also move from one screen to another because there are a number of us, so we have more than one. At least for me, I've got more than one screen showing up here. It really feels to me like community is so important right now. So being together and actually seeing each other for a moment is a really wonderful way to start my day. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in for a moment, seeing who's here in the river with you and celebrating. So this is Dharma Sunday, and for those of you who may not have attended a Dharma Sunday with us before, I'm just going to briefly explain the progression of events for today. We're going to start with some practice, guided meditation, which I will take you through. And then we'll take a break, a 15-minute break, just to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And come back and I'll share some thoughts with you this morning. And I'll be sure to leave some time for conversation at the end of that. And so that should take us until about noon. And then there is another event happening at 12:15 that everyone is invited to, which is a celebration of our recent capital campaign that we entitled Manifesting Our Mandala. And I actually don't know if it's the same Zoom link or it's a different Zoom link. Amanda or Raylan, do you know? Is it the same?
Yes, it's the same.
Oh, great. Okay. So, I mean, some of you may already know about this and may be planning to stay for that. But if you don't and you would like to, you would be very welcome. It will be an opportunity to hear more about the purchase of the land that we were able to acquire as a result of the generosity of so many of you, and what the plans are. Some of the plans, at least early thoughts on plans for what we may do to make use of that land in a way that will benefit all of us. And then just information about the organization in general, and some gratitude practice for the amazing generosity that enabled us to even be able to move forward with this purchase, and also with the project to fix the back porch on Wonderwell, which is a very precious spot. If you've been to Wonderwell, you know what I'm talking about. So anyhow, just to say everybody's welcome, and please feel free to stay on after 12. There'll be a 15-minute break from 12 to 12:15, and then we'll start up again. So you're welcome to stay on and continue with that if you like. Okay, so let's start with some practice this morning. And you can feel free, if you like, to turn away from your screen, as long as you can hear me. You don't have to stare at the screen, but finding an opportunity to place yourself in such a way that you feel comfortable and at ease. You can sit on a chair, cushion, you can stand, you can lie down, whatever you need this morning. And just take a moment to position yourself in whatever way feels right to you this morning. As you come to stillness, give your body a few moments to begin to just settle into its own place. You can trust actually that your body knows how to come into stillness, how to relax into itself. So just give yourself a moment to feel into your position, your seat, your environment. And we'll take some deep cleansing breaths to really drop down into the feeling of the body this morning. So breathing in a long, deep inhale down into the belly, and on the exhale, releasing and relaxing as much of the tension and tightness as you can in the body, really sinking down into the feeling of the body. And breathing in again, another long, deep inhale. And releasing, letting go of everything, coming down to rest in this temple of the body. One more long, deep inhale. Feeling the breath go all the way down into the body. And on the exhale, relaxing, dropping down into the body as if you have settled into your favorite armchair. You can take a few more breaths like that if you feel you would like to keep settling for a moment. And as the body comes into stillness, take a moment to just assess for yourself, how is this body right now? Just noticing whatever's present in your body, whatever sensations are there, whatever areas of tension or grasping are there. Just feeling into the state of your embodiment at this moment. And feeling into the weight of the body, the sense of the body's natural stability and groundedness. This body as an anchor for your attention, for your awareness, feeling into that sense of presence and connection with the earth below. Really remembering this earth as a source of sanity, groundedness, and strength. And sensing down to the base of the body and really noticing the sensations that are present where your body meets the chair, sensing down past your seat and down into the earth, being held from below by the earth. Let whatever sensation you notice at the base of the body hold you in the present moment. And let your awareness continue to merge with that sensation. Whenever you feel yourself drawn away into thinking or other distractions, then allowing that sensation of connection to draw you back into the present moment, into oneness with the earth below. If your eyes are open, I'm going to invite you to close them for a moment and return your awareness to whatever sensations you notice where your body meets the cushion or the chair. Really feeling into that sensation. See if you can resist the impulse to label the sensation as one thing or another. Just sensation, just energy, some kind. And then see if you can notice where this sensation ends and where the cushion or the chair or the sense of the earth below begins. Can you find the place where the sensation you feel ends and the sense of the cushion or the earth below begins? And this is an exercise in feeling. It's feeling into the sensation and feeling into wherever there is some sense that that sensation ends and the cushion begins. Can you find such a distinction? Now, just coming back to resting in whatever sensation is present at the base of the body, just relaxing with that. Turning your attention now to the feeling of the whole body, beginning to sense into the subtle vibratory energy that is always alive throughout the whole body. Noticing, if you can, this subtle vibratory quality to the body. Becoming aware of your energy body. As you connect and feel into this subtle vibratory energy quality to your body, noticing that this body is also breathing. The breath is flowing into the body and out of the body. It's almost as if the entire body is breathing in and breathing out. So still keeping your eyes closed, see if you can feel that sense of all the cells in the body breathing in and all the cells of the body breathing out. Feeling of the body breathing. And let yourself relax into this subtle feeling of the body expanding and contracting. A gentle expansion and a gentle contraction with each breath. If you become distracted by thoughts, see if you can allow yourself to relax back into this slow flow of the body, expansion as the breath flows in, contraction as the breath flows out, every cell expanding and contracting as oxygen flows into the body and as the breath flows out of the body. Just let yourself be drawn back to that river of expansion and contraction. And still keeping your eyes closed and your connection to the feeling of the body, sensation of the body. See if you can become aware of a sound, any sound that might be occurring in your room or wherever you are. Just noticing one sound or whatever sounds are present. Let these sounds begin to populate your awareness. It might be the sound of a refrigerator, the sound of the wind, the sound of a fire. Still keeping your eyes closed, ask yourself, where does the sense of self end and the sound begin? Can you find any place where the sense of self ends and the sounds begin? Are these sounds part of the sense of self, held in the field of your awareness, part of that field of awareness? Or is there a place where the sense of self stops and the sounds exist separately? No matter what answer you find or don't find, just let the sense of self expand to encompass any sound that is occurring in the field of your experience. Now allow your eyes to open. You can open them just a little bit, or you can open them all the way, whatever feels comfortable to you. Just letting in some light, some color, some sense of shape, perhaps. And from this same space of expanded consciousness, expanded awareness, just allow whatever is present in the field of your vision to simply be just what it is. Color, shape, perhaps some movement. Again, resisting any urge to label or name whatever you notice in the field of your vision. And even just keeping the gaze slightly relaxed and unfocused. As if you were gazing out from the very back of the inside of your skull, gazing out through the eyes from the back of your skull, the inside of the back. And again, ask yourself one more time whether or not this expanded sense of consciousness, of awareness, includes these objects in the field of your vision, or are they somehow separate? Are they part of your consciousness, held in your awareness, woven through your awareness, or are they somehow separate? Try to feel the answer to that question rather than think it. Just feeling from that place of the body's energetic field. If you find yourself becoming very discursive and caught up in thoughts, just return to the groundedness of the body. Drop your awareness back down to whatever sensation is present at the base of the body and just rest. Rest there. Reconnect to the earth. And expand outward again when you feel ready. Okay, we're going to take a break now, a 15-minute break. I will see you back here at 11 o'clock. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So I just want to start by just expressing my sense, which I imagine is shared by many of you, what a really difficult time we're living in right now, and just how painful and terrifying what is unfolding in this country is. And I watch myself reading the news because I can't not read the news. I need to know, and just really having to work with the feelings that come up, which are very strong and not very bodhisattva like, I will admit. Uh, and, that together with the changes that are, of course, ongoing in the environment and with the climate, it just feels like there's a lot to hold right now. There's just a lot to hold. So I wanted to talk this morning a bit about where we might turn to find a source of resilience and ease within ourselves and together. And I was thinking, as I was thinking about that, I was remembering this section in the Bodhisattva-charya-vittara by Shantideva, where it's in chapter 5, actually, and he says, he's talking about basically how basically he's talking about how does one live when the situations feel so unbearable, and what do we do to address our reactivity. And so he's giving this example where he says, like the tendency is to want to try to change everything out there, and not, again, from our perspective, not that we aren't going to try and do that, but then he says, to cover all the earth with sheets of leather, where could such amounts of skin be found? But with the leather soles of just my shoes, it's as though I cover all the earth. So this sense that some of the work that we can do, at least, has to do with working with our own being and our own heart and our own minds to find a source of resilience and strength and ease within ourselves, that can allow us then to move more easily into doing whatever we can do to change the external circumstances and situation, but that we can find a way to protect ourselves and to give ourselves the capacity, or really find that capacity within ourselves, to be at ease and to feel resourced and feel that there is a boundless source of strength and resilience within us, a sense of a place of clarity, a place of sanity, from which we can draw then to move with more ease and willingness, and to try our best to remain open-hearted during these times. And one of the ways, to me at least, to find this kind of self-resilience and clarity has to do with remembering that we really are interconnected with each other and with the phenomenal world. That's not just a fantasy or just a, some kind of idea that we play around with, but that there's truth to that, and that we can experience that truth directly, and that there's tremendous strength in these webs of connection that we inhabit. And we can sense that even, depending, of course, on our relationships, but within our families, within our groups of friends, with our groups of colleagues, within our communities, our sanghas, our spiritual communities, and also just within a deeper and more innate level of unification with the phenomenal world, with the natural world. And these days, I have this sense often that it's going to sound a little out there maybe, but that the energy of the universe is trying to remind us that we are part of this web of interconnected, brilliant energy that makes up life, that makes up life itself. And that we experience that interconnected, brilliant energy in all kinds of different ways. That we experience it in an unexpected phone call from somebody you haven't heard from in a long time, or in reconnecting with friends that we haven't, had an opportunity to spend time with, or feeling drawn to certain gatherings of community. And maybe even just, in the echoing call of crows in the winter sky when you're out walking. But that there are these sort of reminders happening, that are like reminders that are like invitations to remember our intimacy with all of the energies of this life and each other, and even with death. So there's something to be said for this truth that, really what forms the texture of our lives are these interconnecting webs of energy. And that these energies are present in a lot of diverse forms, right? They're present, our energy is present, it shows up in our emotions. Our emotions are forms of energy, right? They're energy rising in our bodies. They show up in the form of our our thoughts. Our sensory perceptions are manifestations of energy. And then, of course, they're present, energy is present all the time in the larger energetic field that we live in, that we call this life. So when we practice meditation, part of what we're doing is we're training to release the dominance of the conceptual mind, the thinking mind, and to relax into our energy, our fields of energy. We're relaxing into the whole body as an energetic field. We're relaxing into the, even just the experience of the arising of energy through the body in the form of thoughts and emotions. And we're also relaxing into the wider fields of, maybe you could say universal energies that are always surrounding us and permeating us, penetrating us, that we're intimately interwoven with. And in the Marga retreat in January, I was suggesting to everybody that, if we really pay attention when we're meditating, if we really sit and we open our awareness, that we can feel our extension and our interconnectedness with everything. It's always happening. And I was sort of playing around with guiding you guys through that kind of a way of sensing into how connected and interconnected and not separate we are from everything that we tend to think of as separate somehow this morning. So there is this truth really that consciousness, awareness is always expanded. It's always expanded, it's always connected. And when we don't notice that, it's because we've contracted into our thought bubble, our sense of thinking our experience rather than feeling and sensing our experience. So to reconnect with this kind of innate intimacy that we have with everything, that we are this sort of, like Elizabeth Madison Amgyal describes, everything leans. That's how she talks about it. Everything leans, which means that everything is supporting everything else and everything is interconnected. And our whole sense of self is like that. And that when we discover that, when we really feel that, when we begin to sense that it's like discovering, and I'm going to read you this little quote, it's discovering a field of bright spirit, an ancient wilderness that does not change. And that's a quote by a Zen master from the 10th century, Zen master Hongxi, who right now I'm quite enthralled with, because he has this amazing ability to use language to paint a picture of what it feels like to reconnect with our interconnectedness with everything, to remember that we are always in these webs of connection, and that that there's a way that feels when we touch into that. And I feel like his language is very evocative of that sense of feeling. So he talks about this wandering into a field of bright spirit, an ancient wilderness that does not change. And I want to go through that phrase and just explore the different aspects of it to help us sense into that recognition, that experience of being interconnected and awake and free. Really, what does it mean to discover this place of deep refuge within ourselves, where we can return again and again for support and strength and resilience during these times? So, an ancient wilderness that does not change. Let's look at this word for a moment, this word ancient. And this is something you find often used too in the Tibetan tradition, where even the word yeshe, some of you may be familiar with that term yeshe. Yeshe, ye means primordial, it means ancient. And she means awareness, consciousness. So a primordial consciousness, a situation, again, there's really no concept that I can use that won't partially reify what's being talked about, but this notion of ancient, there's something primordial about who we really are, because really this is a description of who we really are. There's something primordial, there's something primal and without beginning and without end. Ancient really suggests, it's what it's essentially saying to us is our essence, who we really are, has always been here. There's never a beginning to it, there's no end to it. It's present in the timeless time that flows through us, or that we flow through when we're in deep samadhi or we're in expanded states of consciousness, which actually we are all the time, we just don't notice that. So this sense that our innermost being never had a beginning and it never ends. It's ancient then in the sense that it is continuously manifesting the deep wisdom and compassion of the universe, continuously. So ancient in that sense. And then wilderness, right? This notion of a wilderness. I really love this so much. He uses this word wilderness, and I love it because it suggests that who we really are is a kind of untrammeled naturalness, right? It's a situation that is present beyond all the domesticated conditionings of the thinking mind, which is just a mind of limitations. So the notion of wilderness here suggests that our essence, it's unstructured, it's untamed by concepts or ideas, and therefore it's not knowable through the thinking mind, right? It's a vast psyche of radical, expanded being. It's it's our indigenous self, our native self, the part of us that is sprung from the earth. I just love that etymology. This is the etymology of the word indigenous. It means sprung from the earth. So this essence to who we are, it's our native self. It's primary. It's the oldest, most primal part of us that existed long before there was a sense of I, and that will continue to exist long after that sense of I dissolves. So when we step free from the enchantment of the habitual mind, we find ourselves in this ancient wilderness, right? This ancient wilderness that does not change. And in order to access that ancient wilderness, we have to practice dropping what is not natural, what is unnatural, which means dropping our attachment and our aversion, all of our habitual patternings, our biases, our thoughts, our beliefs. We have to drop the layers of conceptual filtering that are what keep us isolated, feeling removed, feeling contracted, feeling separate. We have to drop the habit of I, which is a habit of contraction. The I is always contracting, the sense of I, because it wants to separate itself, to prove to itself that it exists. And then instead, right, once we drop that sense of contraction, which is what we do on the cushion over and over again, we're continuously dropping that. It comes back up and we drop it again, and it comes back up and it takes us away from our expanded being and we drop it. Up, drop, up, drop. That's the process that we engage in on the cushion for a long time. And every time we drop that intrusion of the thinking mind, we can embrace that sense of being without edge and without boundary, that sense of expanded being, this wilderness that is natural and free and open. And again, these terms, these words are just another way of describing something that we talk about all the time in NDF. Right? This notion of a wilderness within is another way of thinking about the unified awareness that in Dzogchen is called Rigpa, right? Which is our nature, our essence. So Rigpa, or this wilderness within, it's not only indigenous to us in the sense that it is native to us, it's part of who we deeply primally are, but it's also fugitive. And those of you who have been part of the rewilding program, you've probably heard us use this word fugitive. And fugitive, it's a concept that was, it's a word that's been around for a long time, but recently this philosopher, Bayo Akomolafe, has been using this term fugitive to describe how we live in a time of fugitivity. There's a word, fugitivity, which means it's a time when we can really consciously turn towards the more that we are, to help to heal this unnatural sense of separation that has isolated us from knowing who we really are and knowing why we're here, why we're actually here. Because the sense is that our essence, who we really are, it's fugitive because it's outside of business as usual. It's outside of the surface thinking, conceptualized sense of self and world. The essence of who we are is outcast, in a way, from mainstream ways of being, popular culture, commodified culture, materialism, right? It's outcast from culture as we have been compressed to know it or to think that it is. And so maybe some of you already feel like I do, like a fugitive. I think I've always sort of felt like a fugitive from what I could see around me as the way people were living. So a sense of fugitivity from your family or from the social and cultural values that are being perpetrated around us, especially right now, and from the sense of limitations, right, that are implicit in those values. And, perhaps it is, and hopefully will continue to be, a relief to experience how meditation practices expand us beyond this business as usual. That they help us relax into this sense of fugitivity, this deep essence of who we are, right? That it doesn't know separation and it's always moving in a space of connectedness and interdependence. This ancient wilderness that does not change, it's always a space of non-dual love, beyond any idea of love that the thinking mind can come up with. No one tells us when we're growing up that maybe there's something more, something deeper to us than we can think, more to us than we know. But then we perhaps have a sense that something's missing. And this Zen master Hongxi, he describes how when we begin to touch into this essence of who we are, this ancient wilderness that does not change, he says, with boundless eagerness, wander around this immaculate wide plain, the ancient wilderness that does not change. So what does it mean to wander around? And this connects back with this, what I was just talking about, this sense that there has to have been something else, but I'll get to that in just a minute, because first I want to just unpack this notion of wandering, because this word comes up a lot in his teachings. He talks a lot about wandering. And, in the Buddhist tradition, sentient beings are described as wanderers. The word actually for a sentient being in Tibetan, drowa, means one who wanders, one who's always wandering. And usually it's referring to this notion that we're wandering through samsara. We're wandering through different lifetimes and forms of suffering, which includes this kind of basic cycle of being born and living and dying, going round and round through the 6 realms of samsara. And the sense is that we're wandering because we're searching for something that maybe we can't name, but we can feel that there's something, we feel that there must be something else, something that is, it can't, this life can't just be about speeding around from one thing to another and thinking and buying things and, all the things that are held out to us by the culture as somehow of value. And I definitely, when I was a child and well into until I really found the Buddhist path, I really felt like, I just felt all the time like something was missing. And the way I articulated it to myself, I've told you guys this, many of you this before, but I felt like where was the magic? There was magic was missing. I felt like there must be magic, but I just could not find that in my habitual daily world. except in books, basically. So I really didn't know what it was, but I kept seeking. And that experience of feeling like there must be something else, and not being able to rest, not having found a place that feels full, is the basic experience of suffering of sentient beings. This is the notion of dissatisfaction. That we live in this kind of trance of not enoughness, of restlessness, sensing that there's something more, and then wandering in search of that. And so we search, usually we search, or we habitually search outside of ourselves. We look to see if we can find that in other people, other places, jobs, relationships, belief systems, material objects. And slowly it just becomes clear that we're not finding that that feeling that something's missing. We're just not finding whatever that is there. And it becomes clear that the habitual self is not what we're seeking, right? That's not what we're actually looking for either. So then maybe we connect to a spiritual path, and maybe, you guys are here listening to me talk about, and in the Buddhist tradition here, so maybe we connect to the Buddhist path. Although, of course, many spiritual paths are going to open this door. And, again, in Tibetan, the term for a Buddhist is a nangwa. A nangwa. A nangwa is one who goes within. It means one who goes within. So instead of searching outside, we start to turn the search inward. And through meditation, we realize that we can wander deeper within, actually. We can wander towards the more that we are. So we can stop wandering around out here, and we can start wandering down, deeper inside. And we discovered that actually wandering isn't just about suffering, but we can actually wander right into our own freedom, into our own liberation. We can wander into the center of the circle of wonder, or into this bright field of boundless being, or into this ancient wilderness that does not change. These are all synonyms, descriptions for the same thing, where there's no longer any feeling of insufficiency or separation. So we can wander around this immaculate wide plain, as Hongxi says, which is the field of our interconnected being. It's a kind of ground, right? It's a mirror of earth where we feel rooted and supported and held and loved. We've wandered into this ancient wilderness that does not change, that is coterminous with everything and everybody. In the Zen tradition, they say that we discover our intimacy with the 10,000 things, where 10,000 things just means all phenomena, that we are not separate from anything. We are intimate with everything. When we arrive in that place, even when we just touch into it, Hongxi says, directly arriving here, you will be able to recognize the mind ground Dharma field that is the root source of the 10,000 forms, germinating with unwithered fertility. In other words, that this bright and boundless field within that is completely interconnected has access to tremendous strength and resilience, right? It's a bottomless well of love. And in the Buddhist tradition, we call this a kind of primordial sanity, right? This is not the kind of sanity that we learn about in school, or that comes from being sane in a psychological sense, but it's a deep sanity that underlies everything. It's the sanity, it's called sanity because it's a profound knowing of the truth of things as they are. And the Buddha called that the realization of interdependence, the web of connection. And the more we feel into this web of interconnection, the more primordially sane we remember ourselves to be. So I feel like we need this kind of sanity right now, right? We need to know that we are interconnected, that we are here with each other, that we are each other, that we are this planet. We're not just in relationship with each other and with the planet, we are each other. We don't just love and care for each other. We don't just have love and care for each other, but we are each other. So when we begin to feel that sense of connection, which we can feel through our practice, certainly that is one avenue for accessing that essence to who we are. Very powerful tool, multiple tools for accessing who we really are. And we can feel it the more that we come into connection. There is got to be a reason that when the Buddha was dying, he told, I think, Ananda that what was going to be the primary source for awakening for beings in the future was not the guru or even the teachings themselves, but it was going to be the Sangha. It was going to be the community of connection. I feel like this is a very ripe place now for us to discover the strength and to foster that strength and resilience that we need to live in this particular time and to respond to the challenges with love in our hearts and not the range of other challenging emotions that can be stirred up, that are stirred up. And that's a real practice. It's a real practice. Because I think, certainly for me at least, when I'm encountering what I'm encountering, I have to work hard to let that energy move through me, my reactive energy move through me, and not get stuck there. And practice relaxing into these deeper levels of being that are interconnected and awake and energized with care and love, and to really feel that. And I think that it matters that we train to not just have a conceptual response to the world right now, but to begin to strengthen this capacity we have to know the truth, to feel into our interconnectedness, which is what I was encouraging us to do this morning, that it is not about thinking. It really is about cultivating this much deeper, more primordial capacity that we have to feel the truth, to feel the energies that we are always surrounded by and woven into. We can't think that. We can use thought to explain it or talk about it, but we can't actually experience it through the thinking mind. It has to come from this other deeper dimension that is a felt sense, a intuited sense, a way of knowing that is beyond the conceptual mind, that we all have. We all have. Some people have it more strongly developed than others, but we can all cultivate it and strengthen it. And meditation does that. So, I titled this morning's talk Manifesting Our Mandala. It was really just a ploy to get you to come to this thing this afternoon. But the truth is that actually a lot of what I've been talking about this morning has to do with this notion of manifesting our mandala. And so, what does that really mean? In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, every being is understood as a complete mandala. We also live within a mandala, within multiple mandalas. A mandala is a way of conceiving the totality of a situation. So, from the point of view of an individual, we are each a mandala in that we are a constellation of intersecting, moving energies. And there is a kind of primordial presence of awareness that infiltrates that whole mandala. And yet the mandala is always manifesting itself. It's constantly expressing itself because the energy of awareness is expressive. It manifests. It displays itself. So to manifest our mandala is to manifest the essence of who we really are, to let the deepest energies of our being, which are the energies of love and care and into sanity, pour through, emerge out into the world. So that's the notion of radiating our energies into the world, is when we can drop back down out of the thinking mind and into the feeling being and connect, wander our way back into the ancient wilderness that does not change. Then what begins to emerge through us, the energies that emerge through us, don't get stuck and reified and collapsed into reactivity like anger or rage or depression or anxiety, right? They stay as what they really are, flows of compassion, of bliss, of emptiness, of appropriate responsiveness to whatever comes our way. So the notion of a mandala then is this it refers to this interconnected essence of who we really are, and this radiation that is always coming out from that, radiating the specific textures and energies of our unique gifts to the world, which we each have. So I'm going to stop talking and invite anyone else who would like to talk. If you have a question or a comment, you're invited to raise your hand, and we'll have a conversation, I hope. And I see Melissa.
Hello.
Hello.
Um, I had a question about the practice that you led. And I mean, it also relates to the talk as well. So while I was doing the practice, I noticed my attention would go towards what you were telling us to do and doing that. But then there was also this emotional pain in my stomach, and I'd be trying to pay attention to sound or sight, and my attention would just be going back to that point in my stomach. And it feels like what you were talking about in terms of things being more contracted there. And so I was wondering how you would recommend working with that.
Well, that's a very good question. And So my sense in hearing you is that something's happening here. There's some, energetic movement that's happening in your belly or in your stomach.
Mhm.
And it is asking for your attention. I think that there's a sense in which that part of you, there's whatever that is that's coming through there, is asking for your attention. It's asking for your care. It's asking for your love. And, if it was dominant enough during the meditation that it kept you from, really being able to relax into the practice, then my suggestion would be that you would simply forget about anything I'm saying and just come to this place, bring your awareness to this place in your body, and just hold it gently, be with it in a very gentle and kind of open way, letting it be just what it is. You don't even have to give it a label or a name or anything, just kind of letting it be and giving it the space to begin to tell you why it's there or what it wants or what it needs. And maybe it won't say anything, maybe it won't express anything, maybe it just needs your gentle, loving attention to it. Um, and then see what happens when you do that, because probably that experience, that feeling, that energy will start to change in some way, and then it might even begin to release, might begin to let go. You don't know, but there's it's calling to you, and its voice is louder than mine in that moment. So I think you need to honor that and give the care to yourself that that part of you is asking for. That's what I would suggest.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's a great question. Jan?
Hi, thank you so much, Lama Liz. And I just want to tell you that these spontaneous moments of connection happened for me with a friend that I hadn't seen for like 11 years. And we got together. She came to my house and she started talking. She said, "I'm working with this Zen master Honshi." It just all unfolded, from there. But I I think my question is related to what you were just saying. But in my meditations, when you're guiding us, I find this place of an edge, either where I'm sitting on the cushion and I'm feeling the cushion and the edge of my body, or the edge of the sound, and or what I'm looking at. And when the conceptual mind comes in, what I'm discovering is this that I've learned from some of my somatic teachers, of the receptivity of our primal nervous system, that there's this receptivity. And when I let myself just receive the impressions and let go, that emerging of just another realm begins to just emerge on its own. And I just wondered if you have anything to say about that edge, that edge that you keep pointing us to. And that there's no contriving the shift into offering. It just naturally happens. It's like I'm offering my attention and the rest of the world begins to open up.
Yeah, I don't think I can add much to that, Jan. That was beautifully said. I mean, I think your, you know, your language is a little different from mine, but that's beautiful and helpful for everyone to hear.
Mhm.
I love that idea of receptivity, and because it's like we're opening all our receptors and sensing into, is there some place where I end and everything else begins or not? and it's just a question, right? It's just an inquiry into the ordinary ways that we tend to feel bounded and contracted and locked down into something separate. But in practice, what if we just release that sense of contractedness and become receptive to the invitation, as you say, like inviting? And, from the perspective of the Zen tradition, right, the 10,000 things come in
Yes,
then. And is there,
they emerge.
they emerge. They're exactly. So thank you. No, I mean, beyond that, I don't have much more to add to that. I think that's beautifully said, and something we just need to feel. We just have to work to sense and feel that part of ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Alan, and please don't put your hand down, because if you put your hand down, then I can't find you anymore in the group. So it's helpful if you keep your hand up while we're talking. Thank you.
Whoops. Thank you, Lama Liz. And I think the hand goes down automatically after
Oh,
some number of seconds. I'm pretty sure it's a Zoom
okay.
setting, but
Okay.
I will not intentionally put mine down. I really, just in your first couple of minutes, you said something that struck me, that I kind of worked with the rest of the time. You said that there's a lot for us to hold right now in regards, the situation that's going on, especially in our country, but around the world. And you say the planetary health.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was caught, really focus on the word hold, and realized that I've been doing this sort of bouncing back between really kind of pushing away, like I just can't pay attention. I can't, look at the news, whatever, just because there's so much
Mm-hmm.
potential sort of painful stuff going on. And um holding on to it, like, oh my gosh, what do I do about it? And just kind of getting into the seemingly overwhelming task at hand, let's say,
Right.
to fix it. But holding it, and then realized holding it in community. I mean, when you
Right.
kind of brought us back into Sangha,
Mm.
where I don't have to hold it all. I need to, in part, hold it, but holding it with others, and in the recognition of our interconnectedness. I don't know. I'm sort of working with that, and I don't know, if you've had any particular practice that sort of allowed for that kind of coming in back and rebalancing, because it really seems like there's a rebalancing, that it's so easy to get sucked in and
Yeah.
either feel the despair or anger, all those things, or just like, I'm just gonna
Right.
disappear from that whole mess. So anyway,
No,
thank
I
you.
think you expressed that also just really beautifully, the sense of, I sometimes worry that verb to hold suggests
Mm,
like that we get stuck somehow. But I think the way I'm trying to think of holding is that it's like holding with an open palm, and
mm,
holding then in a way that's an
mm,
extension, which is then a way, which is connected with everyone else. So like holding out to, in a sense, to everyone who is here with us right now. I feel like, in fact, if you're asking if there's any kind of practice where we can do this, I feel like this is the practice, like being here
yeah,
together and engaging and holding, our situation together is, and maybe it should be framed that way, actually, not just holding, but holding
Mm,
together. That
mm,
helps remind us both of, not turning away and not denying and not hiding, but it reminds us of our interconnectedness and the strength to be found in holding together, in community together. Um, so I love that you're interrogating that, or inquiring more deeply into that. What does that look like, and how do we do that? And because I think there's a lot of richness in that we could keep exploring. Yeah, I'm going to keep exploring. Thank you.
thank you.
Anne Marie. Hi, Anne Marie. Oh, there you are.
Hold on, I'm trying to un.
You're
Okay.
unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, nice to see you, and thank you so much for bringing this way of being into the way that we can be right now. We all really, really, really need these teachings and to explore together. What I was thinking about as you were talking, and maybe you meant this in your expression as you were just saying to Alan, but in my experience, it seems like it's not just meditation on the cushion that we need to do, especially when we're really stuck. Um, I think one of the things that we need to find and will help us within this expression of basic awareness is joy,
Mm,
and the joy of being with others.
right.
The other day, I got really, really triggered by things going on out in the world, and I couldn't hold it. I was like beside myself. Um, and I kept trying to find a way through the suffering, and I couldn't. But then later in the afternoon, I went to my group. I volunteered to teach first graders in reading, and it's a program that partners with an elementary school. And I was just feeling so bad all day, and then I went to this group Bridges and working with my little girl, and we were making Valentine hearts out of different materials. And I realized, and then I came home and my mindset was completely different. I was back on track. And I realized that what made the difference was reaching out and finding the joy of being with others. Um, so sometimes it's not just trying to find community through the energetic sense of our being in our home, but sometimes we really need to reach out to others.
Oh, I completely agree. Absolutely. I mean, I think we need to reach out in all the ways that we know how. And, physically, energetically, emotionally, just remembering our interconnectedness on every level. And so, yes, I mean, there's work we can do on the cushion. And, I was exploring that because this is a Dharma teaching and with a meditation session. But what you described is equally powerful, equally helpful, equally a bright light that we need to remember together the joy of being alive, the beauty of our world. I mean, the interconnectedness and the love that we share, those are the buoys that are going to keep us floating, I think. So I 100% agree with you, and that's a great example that you shared. Thank you. Lucy.
Oops, sorry about that. Okay. I don't have my camera on, so I don't know if you can see me.
You do. I see you.
Okay. I really appreciated at the beginning. First of all, I often have difficulty with guided meditations. It's like I'm not where the meditation wants to take me. But today I was able to really stay with it, and partly because you started with our connection to the earth, which is really my primary anchor in meditation more than the breath.
Hmm.
So I really appreciated your attention to that. And then when you were asking us to discern where we end and where the sensation began, I found a big resistance to, like, I was already feeling very connected to the earth. I didn't want to feel the difference, you know? So
Right.
I didn't feel separation there. And with sound, it's really hard to feel separate.
Right.
But when, in terms of sight, it was so interesting. It was so easy to feel separate using my visual sense. So I just thought that was so interesting, which senses are more, I don't know, there's something about our visual sense that's so connected to cognition, I think,
Yeah.
that it brings me more into separation. So yeah, I just
Yeah.
was an interesting
That's
expert.
very helpful. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. And, you know, of course, my intention was to invite folks, everyone into to noticing actually there's really no separation.
right,
And as you're describing, with through sensation, it's easy to feel like there's, you can, if you close your eyes, you really can't find any separation,
right.
you know. And then with sound also, it's very easy again, if you, but as soon as we start looking through the eyes, there, you know, we end up
Exactly.
in this, it's much easier to, it is still possible though, if you really relax the
Yeah.
gaze and you open your awareness, that you can begin to really sense no separation. No separation.
Yeah, I did start to sense that more when I brought in my peripheral vision more.
Yeah.
So it was more diffuse attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank you, Lucy. That's very helpful.
thanks.
Sarah.
Hi. I really appreciate that you are doing the meditations these days. That you acknowledge what's happening in the world outside, because some other teachers are not. It's like doesn't matter. We're focusing on getting our own self and order or whatever. But anyway, so I really appreciate that you do that. And I kind of need more and of that. And there's a movie that's making the rounds. It's called Join or Die, and it's about joining a group, basically a club, and how important that is
Hmm.
for times like this, and for actually democracy. I can send the link to somebody, but I just watched this on Netflix. But the point is that I feel like I really need a sangha to get through this, and I need a sangha who is focused on doing that. And I don't want to, like, I understand that you can't focus on that as on the meditation every time, because Buddhism is much bigger and broader than just the current events. But I wondered if Wonderwell or not Natural Dharma would form a group of people who are actually, like, I'm trying to do stuff. I'm trying to write letters and and I read everything. I'm taking it in the face. And I have a newsletter. I try to send out things that are more gentle so people don't get overwhelmed. And so I'm like trying to filter from taking it in the face to sending it out. But I need a lot of meditation support. And I'm kind of not getting what I need, and I just thought that the idea of Sangha is exactly what I need. But I didn't know if Wonderwell had like any interest in anybody kind of forming some kind of more focused group of people who were actually on the streets and needed a lot of support more frequently than once a week.
Right. Well, you know, I very much appreciate your bringing that up as a suggestion, and I think that I can see a lot of people who are here today right now who, who are, part of our administrative collection of staff, and I think that that suggestion is a really good one, and one that I can bring to our teachers council, and we could discuss what that might look like and how we might do that. Would you be interested in like writing a letter just describing a little bit of what you're thinking about just to give us a little bit more to help potentially create something along these lines, and maybe you'd also be interested in being part of that.
I'd be happy to be part of it, and I could try to formulate it in a letter. I don't really know very well how you guys are all structured and how, so I wouldn't be able to address how you might structure it,
No,
but
I
I could,
understand that.
yeah,
Sure.
tell
And
about.
I mean, I'm not making any promises here either. I'm just, of course, I feel like each of us, to the extent that we can, is trying to address the situation we're living in. But I
Right.
think your suggestion is quite interesting, and there might very well be groups of folks who would like to be part of a group like this
Right.
in NDF. So
Yeah, who should I can email it to? Who should I email it to?
let's see, maybe could you send it to info@naturaldharma.org, and then that will get sent to those of us who need to see that.
Yes, I will do that. Thank you. Thank you for.
And also, Amanda just put into the chat some links to practice groups that might be supportive also, that are online. So you can check that as well. There's just some other practice groups of NDF practice groups, but they're not specifically formulated in the way you're describing.
Right. I don't want to take away from that, but I feel like there might be a focus group. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and then Raylin, and then we'll probably have to take a break here before 12:15 when our manifesting our mandala gathering begins.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hi, Lama Liz and everyone.
Hi,
just a gentle reminder of Dana for anybody that's interested in contributing and helping to support our these programs like this. Amanda's going to put a link in the chat box. Another way of practicing Dana, in addition to showing up as you all are, is by offering a financial gift. So she's going to put a link in the chat box if you have the resources to support in that way. And then Lama Liz, I do have a quick question and a comment. I'll give the comment first from Elise Gittleman. Find it. So Elise says that she has been writing on her arm in a Sharpie, a quote by Joanna Macy: "When everything falls apart, I don't want us to turn on each other." And she states that it reminds her to act so that that might happen. I just
Thank
wanted
you,
to
Elise.
for Elise. And then there was somebody that had a question. Could you state the name of the book that you're referring to by Hunji?
Yes, it's called, oh boy, I don't have it right in front of me. Camille would know the title. Camille, do you have it in front of you by any chance? It's something like Field of Silent Illumination. Does that sound right? She's nodding.
Is it called
The Field of Silent Illumination? It's Zen Master Hong, Hongzhi.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And can we take a quick moment, please, to dedicate the merit? I think we want to send out positive energy into the world in any way we can. So thank you very much. And again, just holding in your hearts the deepest intention for sanity and goodness and compassion to dominate in our world. Changchub Semjo Rinpoche Mache Panam Che Jurchi Che Pa Nyam Par Me Pa Yang Gong Ne Gong Du Pelwar Sho. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Karen Karitonov, and I'm a co-managing director for NDF. And it is so joyful to be here together with you to celebrate the generosity and interdependence that has made manifesting our mandala possible. So thank you so much for all you have done to reach our goals financially, with your kind presence, and by sending your supportive energy and feedback. And to start out, I invite you to go to gallery view and just take a look around at who is here with you. This field of bright spirit, as Lama Liz was just describing during Dharma Sunday, just looking deeply into this refuge of Sangha. We have about 76 people here together, and that's just wonderful. So before we get into the details, let's take a look back quickly at how we arrived here. Late last summer, well, actually late in the summer of 2023, we learned of a unique opportunity to purchase the land and the farmhouse next to Wonderwell. And thanks to the generosity of our late neighbor, Alice Nelson, and her family, under significant time pressure and purely by word of mouth, members of the Sangha raised $1.26 million in order to purchase that property through gifts and loans. And that took place in October of 2023. NDF's board and staff went right to work fundraising so that we could pay back those critical loans, look at creating new practice opportunities created by this broadening of our mountain refuge. And while knowing that Wonderwell's porch was also in desperate need of rebuilding. So board volunteers, staff members worked together on creating a task force to do this heavy lifting. And I would like to ask the host to spotlight the members of that task force so each of them can just give a quick nugget about their experience during this fundraiser. So I'm going to start by introducing Kathy McKenna, who is a Dharma teacher and current chair of the board, to share.
I will share a nugget, and it's really a reflection back to Lama Liz's talk this morning, because we found the magic right here on our board. Because after the scenario that Karen just outlined, the glow faded, and we realized that we had a huge task in front of us. And, very little, very few resources, because they had all gone into making this once in a lifetime purchase. So the board kind of ganoshed over this and said, okay, well, let's figure out what to do. And so the board, a couple of people said, okay, yeah, we'll figure out what to do. We'll figure out who to find to raise this money, to run this campaign. And we talked and we talked and we hung out and we looked at what was involved. And finally, the magic happened. We realized that we were it. We were them. And a couple more wonderful people joined us along the way, and it unfolded wonderfully, of which you are going to hear right now.
Bill Malloy, who is a longtime board member and our noble treasurer. What do you have to say?
You are muted.
Oh, that's dirt. I've always been struck by how NDF attracts so many people, and we all give our best, like all these people give their best in the NDF environment. And when you have so many people working together, giving their best, like amazing things happen. You know, like you look at the Marga program, like it's such a great program, but it takes so much work. Or the time we had an existential crisis and Wonderwell was going to be shut down unless we came up to code. And it took 3 years, but we did it. You know, so when we bought the farm and we had $710,000 of short-term debt, I was like, you know, like I didn't know if we could do it, you know. But I knew we had to go for it. It was a scarce opportunity. And I knew like the Sangha had pulled off amazing stuff before. And it happened, like this magic happened again. And so many people gave their best and we did it. So thank you all.
Matthew Bellows is a board member, teacher, and chair of our stewardship committee.
Well, this campaign, Manifesting Our Mandala, is one of the proudest moments of my life. I've done, you know, I've had a good run so far, but being relatively new into the community, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, and getting to know everybody at the level that we did in order to sort of pull this together has just been such a joy. And to see the incredible community support for Natural Dharma Fellowship, for preserving this land, for opportunities to do retreat cabins and contemplative walks and conservation, just to me is really, and yes, it was a ton of work, but honestly, like it all happened so easily. Everyone just pitched in, and that was really just an incredible experience in my life. So I really appreciate not only you know, the fact that we completed the campaign successfully and that now we have all these opportunities, but also just that the community really stepped up and shared from their heart and from their pocketbook and from their energy. And I feel even more connected to you all now.
Jane Moss, a founding board member and meditation teacher.
Well, it's not easy to raise money, really, but one of my favorite questions to anyone, really, whom I come across at Wonderwell, is what draws you to NDF? And this question, I find, is often followed by a pause that really has some magic in it. It's just a freshening in the conversation, and I relax. And then what follows is a story of meeting Lama Willa or Lama Liz and just feeling grounded and inspired. Or an account of how a particular practice has become a precious way to start every morning. Or how a movement practice is awakening a fresh wholeness and resilience in someone. For each person, it seems that something in the relationship with natural Dharma has struck a chord and has become a comfort. It's really not unlike a favorite walk. And now look at all the walks we're going to have. So it's the naturalness of this relationship that keeps us open to our connections with each other, fresh and old, to nature, and I would say even especially to the most difficult events in our lives.
Bert Hadlock is a new board member who jumped in headfirst into this task force and brought a lot of expertise with him. Bert, go ahead.
All right, thank you. And head first, I'm not sure, but I'll echo what's already been said, and just what a joyful experience it's been to be part of the Manifesting Our Mandala campaign. My experience coming in late is perhaps, useful to those who are looking to get involved with NDF in some way. We heard from someone in the last session even. I was welcomed, embraced by the group, and was able to participate and feel like I could bring my best self to an organization that I'm relatively new to. I've only been around NDF for a short while. So if you're looking to get involved beyond your generous donations of financial help, you're looking to do some volunteerism, some work, NDF is a wonderful place to do that, and that's been demonstrated through my participation with our campaign here, and I'm grateful for having had that opportunity.
And Shemalaya Jeremiah Smiley is a dedicated volunteer who joined staff as admin support for this team this summer.
I am so delighted to be here with you all. And I just want to highlight one of the most profoundly joyous pieces of this for me was the depth and love and commitment that our volunteers showed. Everyone on this screen that you're seeing right now is a volunteer, with the exception of Karen and myself. But there are also numerous volunteers who aren't highlighted on your screen right now, without whom this could not have happened. You know, those are members of the board, members of previous stewardship committees who gave us lessons on how to speak to donors, people at Wonderwell who saw the gift chart and talked about it during the last luncheon and how, it was something that they could achieve. So it's just been a delight to witness what I've always known about this community, but just to witness us coming together to meet this goal for the benefit of all. And I'm just so grateful.
And for my part, being involved in the moving parts at the beginning of the purchase, in the thick of it, I was just astounded at how swiftly members of the Sangha stepped up with gifts and loans. I mean, truly bodhisattvas on the spot. And, I don't intend to speak for them, but I have a sense that, they were able to make these leaps of faith because of their confidence in this community. They felt held by this jewel of Sangha. They felt the sense of support from everyone who is here, and beyond. And, I think the outcome and the success of this fundraiser really proved that to be true. So many people in the Sangha contributed on so many different levels. And, the depth and the breadth of the commitment of the Sangha is just so special and so inspiring. And I'm just so very grateful and joyful to be part of it. So thank you to everyone here. And now I'd like to introduce our lamas to say a few words. Thank you, everyone on the task force.
Hello, everyone. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here and for showing up to celebrate together. I wanted to just say something about gratitude to everyone who gave, but also to everyone who rejoiced in the giving. There have been quite a few people who may not have given, but they were there with their moral support and with their kindness, or their teaching, or their volunteering, or their gardening at Wonderwell, or their cooking. That there is such a web of interdependence here at Wonderwell and Natural Dharma Fellowship that just has been here since the very beginning. And I was saying to somebody the other day, just yesterday, when I was sharing with them that we had reached the goal for the campaign for manifesting our mandala. And and I just found myself saying, which is how I feel about the whole miracle or the magic, as Lama Liz brought to the table this morning, that the magic happens because the community seems to want to exist, and that there is a will to continue into the future, and that will and that vision and that aspiration is rising up from the base of the sangha. It's not coming from us, it's not coming from any one individual, it's coming from the sangha's will to be connected to one another, and the will to be connected to the natural world and the land, the animals, the more than human world that we are now beginning to steward as we go forward. So just this worked because you all wanted this to be so. You wanted this to exist. And for that, I just thank you so much for your generosity, for your kindness, because it couldn't have happened without you and without Sangha, without this web of interdependence, some of which is material resources, the offering of material resources, and much of which is the offering of heart and the offering of work and the offering of the gift of presence. So thank you all, and I'll turn it over to Lama Liz.
Hello again, everybody. I feel like I was just with you all. But, I was thinking, I remember when we started the Manifesting Our Mandala campaign, and I was thinking, oh my God, it hasn't been all that long since we had to raise $2.5 million just to bring Wonderwell into code compliance and to keep the doors open and everything functioning as it needed to by regulation. And that was a huge effort and tremendous outpouring of care and generosity. And then here we were again, in this situation of saying, well, here's this opportunity, and we really want to try and preserve this incredible piece of land that could just, really explode the possibilities of what can be experienced and explored through NDF and through Wonderwell. And just so incredibly beautiful beautiful and miraculous and magic, absolutely magic, to see what has happened, that we've not only been able to, cover the expenses for the land and the farmhouse, but now we're going to also be able to take care of the back porch on the building at Wonderwell, which is such a precious and powerful place for all of us to connect with the energies of the natural world and with each other. And I do really feel like I found the magic, and that journey of searching and wandering about has come to an end in a certain sense. And that is right here in, this amazing community. And, we do, and in this incredible ground, this, what's the word, like this environment where we can take everything that might otherwise remain abstract and sort of floating around in the ether and bring it to earth and find our home over and over again there. It's just, may we all continue to come together in a variety of different ways, and particularly on that land and in that place, because there's something about the power of place and the power of the energy of that place that seems to really be drawing us together and continuing the energy of this this beautiful effort to bring sanity and love into the world that we're all engaged in together. So I have so much gratitude also for all of you, and you know, and particularly also for you, Lama Willa, for being the visionary at the beginning that opened the gates to allow this energy to come through, and for the rest of us to take up those threads and continue to weave it out into the world, and to weave each other together. You know, I do feel like I've found my home in this, on this planet, and in this lifetime. So I just have so much generosity. I have so much gratitude for all of you. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And now Phil Malloy and Matthew Bellows, the numbers people, will share some of the statistics and the goals that we've met together.
All right, so I'm going to start and give you a treasurer's perspective with a bunch of numbers, and then Matthew is going to wake you up when I'm done. So at the high level, we did amazing. We raised 1.385 million, and that's enough to pay the 710K of short-term loans, and it should be enough to pay for the porch this year, with the caveat we don't have a bid yet, and the economy is crazy. So we had 374 donors. Only one was an organization, so it was really a lot of people. So what I want to just talk about is we had three very different phases of the campaign with very different challenges. And the overall theme is, like, I feel the Sangha, like we as a Sangha just really wanted this to happen, and we all stretched to make it happen. And we met those challenges, and we really couldn't have done it if so many people hadn't stretched. So the first phase is like scrambling to buy the farm, purchase the farm. So that's August to October of 23. We had 3 months to raise 1.3 million. And there was just a lot of scrambling by a lot of people, but we ended up buying the farm, right? We had 404K of donations, where 5 people donated 390K. We had 2 loans, short-term loans for 710K, and 3 medium-term loans for 200K. The second phase is kind of planning for the fundraising campaign. So that's like October 23 to June 24. So the challenge was we needed like another million on top of what we'd already raised. And typically you would do like a quiet campaign, and you'd find like 20% of the donors, and they would line up 80% of the money, and then you'd kind of go public. Our challenges were that, we have a lot of new members from all the online programming. And so we didn't know who a lot of the 20% was, like we couldn't really identify them. The ones we did know about, some of them had already given big in phase 1. And we didn't have a campaign director, and we were just really stretched thin. So what happened in this phase is that, like, with very little solicitation, we raised 240K. Like, the Sangha just wanted it to happen. And without much solicitation, 120 people gave 240K, with the big one being 81K. So finally, we get to phase 3, which is the public campaign, June 24 to the present. And the challenge there was we still really had a long way to go. Like, we were trying to raise this additional $1 million. We were only 25% of the way there. And how we met that goal is everybody stepped up at all donation levels. We raised 740K from 292 donors. There were 2 big ones, totaling 215K. But like where a lot of the action was is, I kind of call it the heart of the fundraising pyramid, from 1K to 10K, where you get a lot of donors, like down in that area, but it's still a significant donation. So in that range, we had 81 donors, gave 258K. And like people really stretched to do it. Like we had the 3-year monthly pledges. We had 45 of those, and many of them were like $28 a month. So people like who couldn't give $1,000 in 1 year, or like immediately, they stretched to be able to do it, $28 at a month. Anyway, the overall result is like we own the farm. We have the loans covered. The port should be done. And it really wouldn't have happened if we all hadn't stretched in so many ways and at so many levels. So just thank you all so much. Wake him up, Matthew.
Thank you, Phil. With all those numbers, it's hard to kind of get your mind around it sometimes. Like they're so big. I don't know if you all feel this way, but when I start hearing hundreds of thousands and millions, I don't really, like, it's hard for me to understand, really what that means. But like, what it really means is that everyone did what they could. And that feeling of everyone pulling together, I think is the thing that I'm leaving this campaign with. There was a moment in that first summer, right when we knew the land was going to go for sale, and I happened to be able to go for a walk around the field with Lama Willa, and I was looking at her, and I'm like a big guy, and she's not that tall, and I'm sort of looking down at her. She's so like strong, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, is this actually going to work? Like, how are we going to do this? And she just looked up and she was like, we always can do hard things. We've done lots of hard things. This is not going to be that hard. We're going to do it. And just that feeling of like confidence and strength, I was sort of like, you know what? I bet she's right. And the other reason I think this worked is because of the incredible fiscal responsibility and foundation that the organization has. Like I've been involved in a lot of nonprofits. I've been involved in many boards and Dharma centers. And this is by far the best run in terms of financial reporting, in terms of bylaws, in terms of reporting structure, in terms of organizational structure. Like this organization is exceptionally well run. And I think the two things together really work, right? You can have the confidence, but without the infrastructure and the foundation, people don't trust it. We can have the foundation, but without the inspiration, like, it's just another thing, there's nothing special. But these two things coming together at Natural Dharma Fellowship, I think are what really made this campaign, and I dare say future campaigns to come, just tremendously successful and also, frankly, a lot of fun. It was actually fun to work with these people and review our call sheets and learn about how to talk to donors, and all that stuff was actually genuinely enjoyable. So I would echo what Bert said. If there are people out there who are inspired by what NDF is doing and want to help and want to get involved and want to learn and want to share your strengths, please reach out and pitch in. It is a tremendously rewarding thing. And let me just end by saying thank you so much to everyone. I hope you don't mind if I just specifically call it Kathy McKenna, who is the chair of the board and is an extraordinary leader who really does not ever shine the spotlight on herself, but deserves so much credit for what this organization is and what it does and what it can be. So thank you to you all. Matthew, out.
Speaking of Kathy McKenna, she and Bert Hadlock will now share some thoughts and some visuals about why we did this in the first place and what's next.
Guess I better unmute for this. So let's go with our slideshow. because I'm a visual person, and there's nothing better than to see what is here. Even that wonderful mandala flower, that lotus that captured our progress, that was a volunteer effort. More than tragedy happened in 2011. We were born. I think you can, yeah, let's do the next slide. And of course, our amazing meditation hall. When we first walked in there and saw orange zapfus and zabutons, our minds were blown. Orange zabutons. Mm. And this one we might want to just dive into a little bit, because here you're getting, of course, the bird's eye view, and the for those who can kind of appreciate the plot, the green arrows are pointing to current wonder well and our initial land. And then follow the maroon line, which outlines all of the amazing property from our dear Alice Nielsen and her family. Trails, that's in that
Hey,
weirdly.
Kathy, I don't think we can see the slides.
Oh no.
I can't anyway.
They're visible.
I can see them.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
good.
all right. What's wrong?
Oh shoot. Okay. Okay, this is just the trail system on Wonderwell. Yeah. Thanks. 170 acres. Amazing. And here we are walking.
Is it possible to go back and rest on each one of these slides for a minute? The one before, especially that map for
Yeah.
people that are seeing it for the first time. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is a different bird's eye view where we are seeing Wonderwell, the farm with the farmhouse on the west side of Philbrook Hill Road, and the tract on the east side of Philbrook Hill Road. And this doesn't this doesn't mention that, in fact, on the other side of the farm, on the beyond the farm, is more conservation land, which is just helpful to understand what we are going to be able to enjoy. Okay, here we go. Down the primrose path. This is Philbrook Hill Road. Not today, by the way, with 2 feet of snow, but This field you have walked by if you've been on Philbrook Hill Road, where a semi-driveway kind of goes into this beautiful pasture. And all of this is, here's the farmhouse. This is, I mean, I don't know how many times I walked by this farmhouse and fretted about what was going to happen when we lost Alice and not only our dear neighbor, but what would happen to Wonderwell? Who would move in next door? Who would build new houses? Who would put in a shooting gallery? Who would just have noise and light right up against us? This is the opportunity that we were given to create an amazing refuge, expanding our mountain refuge. So protecting our refuge is very much about the land, and as Lama Willa said, the creatures, the animals, the trees. We will be getting to know all of these guys. There is, by the way, an amazing barn on our new land. New roof, new floor, newly built structural supports. And this is a view into the farmhouse from, I think it's from Philbrook Hill Road. And understand that this beautiful farmhouse, you've seen some of the inside already, you'll probably see more, but now we are going to be able to expand our teaching. We'll be able to perhaps have a program for visiting teachers to come and stay and bring their wisdom from other lineages. And we will possibly be able to have interns come, exchanging their labor to come and practice and study the Dharma with us, because we'll have a place to house them. Previously, we had only Wonderwell, and we needed that for retreatants. The kitchen in Alice's, a place of wonderful conversations as well as delicious meals. Oh, look at that. We'll, looks like staff is gathering. A dining room with most amazing chairs donated by Sarah Bowie. You can peek into the library there. The living room, where periodically the local Sangha meets for meditation when Wonderwell is up and running retreats. And I will just say, this is a little perch that Alice Knowlson had built for herself so she could do her work at her desk and look out over the view toward the mountain. Unfortunately, when the architect or the builder put this in, the windows were not low enough. So they had to come back and put Alice's desk on blocks to bring it up and give her a high chair. But we're making do. It's a beautiful setting. And this was called by Alice and her husband Heaven, because this is where the grandchildren bunked. I'm sure it was heaven for them.
Yeah, and here's what the Sangha in the community has made possible, the opportunity to practice and nurture deep practice in nature. The addition of all this land that we've seen from the bird's eye view, and we'll have some lovely pictures here, opens the door for the possibility of more retreat space, solo retreat cabins, more camping space, and outdoor spaces to practice in. And just this wandering around and taking it in. There's existing structures already on the land for us to practice in nature and contemplate what's on the land. And in this shot of one of the wells, many wells, I guess, on Wonderwell is what lies below. All of the property offering a feast for the senses as we practice in nature, the seasonal colors and the shifting lights, the noble silence of winter that's happening there now, or the springtime songbirds in the spring, the scent of these lilacs, and the touch, the wind, almost ever-present breezes at Wonderwell, whether it's a summer breeze in the trees or a howling wind of a noble storm. And the taste, Alice's berry gardens and apples are legendary. The taste of the land as well is available to us. And we get to wander and meander in meditation at Wonderwell now in a much larger property. We'll have another map here that shows the existing trail system. And if you've had the opportunity to hike it, you know what a great experience it is to be down there. It's downhill from Wonderwell down there on the trails, and now we have the opportunity to expand and build more trails into the new land and to walk those fields, as has been mentioned before. To orientate you a little bit to the map, the Wonderwell itself is to the right, or those trails are in the top of the picture that you see on the left. So more trails, more opportunity for gardens. We have this beautiful garden in front of Wonderwell, and also the opportunity to create gardens of all sorts on the property to go with Alice's berries and apples and whatever might occur to us. And we can meander these trails and explore the new property. We have the opportunity to thoughtfully, while maintaining our responsibility to be steward to the land, to thoughtfully create new trails and new spaces on the property. And experience all the sentient beings on the land and the indigenous beings, to go with what Liz was offering earlier. Well, all these videos are an opportunity for those of us who can't get to Wonderwell as often as we like, or those of us who only are part of the Sangha in the community by video. These videos offer an opportunity for us to extend the beauty of this land to the entire Sangha, and to perhaps experience Rumi's quote, where he says, "Out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there."
Ah, our porch, our beloved porch. It's such a mess right now. It's a tragedy. And I just want to share how everyone came together and said, yes, of course, we must stretch, stretch, stretch and try to purchase Alice's farm. But we can't ignore our responsibility for this porch. We can't simply be looking toward moving forward. We also have to honor what's here. And those of us who remember Bob Morrison, I mean, this Bob Morrison, this guy, he was a quintessential Zogpachenpo. And there he is, doing what the porch was meant to host, sky gazing. And once again, when we're done, keeping our fingers crossed that we get a reasonable quote. That's our hope. But we want this porch to reopen, to be the place to sit and become transported without being rained on, by the way. or to have no splinters in your feet. Yeah, that's the tragedy, but this is, and I hope you notice, if we can do it, we may even be able to create an outdoor space above the porch, because the more sky gazing opportunities, the better, especially during tick season. These were done by our wonderful facilities manager, Phil Morse, just to give us a taste. And I'm going to add one piece. If we can hold this shot of the land, our neighbor and friend, Greg Bruss's wife, Cynthia, walked the land with us. She knows the land. She's lived here forever. And she was explaining to us why we had to mow our fields. Because some of us were saying, oh, let it all go back to nature. She said, wait a minute, you have a responsibility, because in 50 years, when sadly the entire Midwest may be a dust bowl, here in New Hampshire, we're going to have to grow food to feed people. And that was a wake-up call for me about the kind of stewardship that we're being called into. That's not just about a nice walk in the woods, but it's about what we are going to be holding for future generations. And it's all thanks to you. So I'm beyond joyful and grateful. Thank you so much.
So now I'd like to invite Barbara Waldorf, my partner in co-managing, to the screen. And we'll give you some information about how you can continue to manifest this mandala together.
So it's so wonderful to see everybody and to see all these pictures, especially the older ones. It's like so much has happened and changed, and so what we're talking about here is really the fact that you are the mandala. Everybody here, everybody who has contributed in every way possible. This mandala doesn't exist without you. And we really feel that the input and feedback are really vitally important to the function of the Sangha. And we want to know what you think that we should aspire to collectively as a Sangha, as a refuge, especially now with everything that's going on in the world and what will go on. We're interested in what you're thinking about, how we can care for the land, for the humans on the land, for the more than humans, and for the world that we are stewarding here. We're going to be doing some visioning sessions in the future to lay out what's going to happen on the land, what's going to happen with programming. And we would like to invite everybody to contribute a word or a phrase for the future of NDF's mandala in the chat. So if the chat can be opened, I think it is open, and if everybody can contribute a word or a phrase about what you would like to see in the future of the mandala, and we will save those, and then it'll be carried forward for future visioning.
And while this is an opportunity to, give a quick share, we're going to be offering some more opportunities to share in depth. To invite you to offer your ideas, your suggestions. I think of this as, we're painting this mandala together, and what brushstrokes do you want to see? What's important to you? So we will be offering a specific email to send those suggestions, feedback, questions to, and that will be mandala@naturaldharma.org. We'll be putting that in upcoming newsletters also. In addition to information about some kind of town hall or brainstorming sessions that we'll hold online for everyone to come together and really have some dialogue and discussion. We're looking to perhaps provide a visual board on the bulletin boards at Wonderwell, which will kind of give us a mosaic of how this mandala is coming together, and we'll include feedback from people online in that also. And our webpage that has been the fundraising webpage will evolve into showing you the progress and the opportunities we have going forward. So thank you again. And to close out with a dedication, I'll hand this back over to Lama Willa and Lama Liz.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. And we wanted to end. So Liz, you're still here. Do you want to lead this practice? Do you want to lead the MOM practice?
I want I just led a long practice, so I want you to, but I wanted to say I have a hard stop leave in a few minutes, so I just wanted to send my love to everybody and my gratitude again. And if I disappear out of the screen, it's only because I have to leave a few minutes before we're probably going to finish. So I'm just so grateful to all of you, and I love you all so much. And I really look forward to more and more time together, hopefully in person as well as online. Thank you.
Oh, and keep those visions coming in the chat. You can keep them coming even as we're starting to practice together. So I just want to thank Kathy, Bert, for unfolding that slideshow for us, and the photos. I hope you were able to see, everyone there, that just what Barbara said is true, that we are a web, we are a mandala. We are, mandala means a circle. We are a circle of loving hearts, and in being that circle of loving hearts, we're really carrying on an ancient lineage practice just by coming together. That practice being the practice of Sangha that was passed down from the time of the Buddha and before, from indigenous cultures before that, that coming together with loving hearts in a circle of care is an ancient practice, and one that we need more of in this challenging world. So I'd like to lead a practice right now of connecting to the wholeness that we are. And so I'm going to invite you right now to put your screen on gallery view for a moment and just open up to the field and our living Sangha. And just taking a moment to let your eyes move around the screen, take in the faces here, and open your heart to that field of connection. And you know, this is an ancient practice, a practice of darshan. Darshan means to see. Darshan is the Sanskrit for seeing and being seen. And as we open to seeing and being seen in a field like this, a field, our refuge field, we can bring up our self-consciousness. I don't deserve to be seen. And, you know, just we have these parts of us that resist the intimacy of seeing and being seen. So that part of the practice is just noticing that, not trying to make it go away, but that's part of the practice too. So to help us really move into that space, let your eyes alight on one face here, maybe someone that you don't know so well, someone that you've never met, perhaps, as I'm sure there's someone on screen you've never met, so many of us here. And just opening your heart to that individual. And giving rise to the wish, may you have happiness and its causes. May you have happiness and its causes. May you have happiness and its causes. And just letting our eyes relax for a moment, maybe close them for a moment. Checking in with our internal compass, and getting in touch with bodhicitta, the heart of compassion that we develop and cultivate in our practice, the heart of bodhicitta. This wish that beings may be free of suffering and its causes, and opening our eyes, letting the gaze move into the field of refuge and alighting on the face of someone here, another person. And may you be free of suffering and its causes. And considering that this person that we perhaps don't know is the hidden, mysterious, unknown to us struggle. Everyone is struggling with something. So may you have freedom from that struggle and causes of that struggle. Opening to that. And moving into a dedication together, just feeling gratitude for the field and taking the whole field in now. And may these beings here and all the beings beyond all beings everywhere, the humans, the animals, the plants and elements live in harmony. May we come to care for the wholeness that we are, and may we embody that through our stewarding of refuge, this refuge that we have been entrusted with, not that we own, that we have been entrusted with to steward for future generations. May that be so. And I do welcome the host, if you'd like to put up our refuge prayer, our dedication prayer, bodhicitta dedication. I want to welcome us to say that together as well in celebration of lineage. If you can bring that on screen, maybe it's already on screen or I'm not seeing it. It's okay. It's okay if it's not available. It's okay. No worries. Oh, there we go. Okay. Changchu Semcho Rinpoche Mache Pana Che Jochi Je Panyam Pa Me Paya Kong Ne Kong Du Hawar. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened.